So earlier today, when you guys weren't paying attention, UPS brought me a box. I know what's in the box. And what's in the box is a learning experience. This learning experience is a long way outside of my comfort zone. Stop. Now, right off the bat, you might be thinking, stupid truck's an LT1. That's fuel injected. And so is the Death Trap. Well, it's not an LT1, but it's fuel injected. It is a 4.3 EFI. Why do we need this? I'd like to drive the Toddler every now and then. And a couple weeks from now, the fire department is going to have their second annual car show, and I'd like to drive it up and support the fire department. So, I've never done anything like this. Don't even have a clue. Let's see what we can do with it. Electric choke. All right, small amount of backstory. The Toddler has always ran rich from the moment I got it. You could smell it. It started blowing a little bit of black smoke, but a few months ago, it got so embarrassing to the point that you would punch the gas pedal, look in the rearview mirror, and there is this James Bond smoke screen style thing that you would expect to see on the Laugh Olympics. You can Google that if you need to. Now, the carburetors had more adjustments than I can count, and the simple fact is that I got to the point that I figured the easiest thing to do is replace the carburetor with something inexpensive, send the 750 Holley off, have it remanufactured or rebuilt or whatever, and then put it back on. But in the meantime, I'd like to drive that car. I mean, wouldn't you? Now, for the 6 people that watch this channel, this should be a 30-minute swap. But those same 6 people know that anytime I'm outside of my comfort zone, I move real slow. And simply put, this is not a scenario like messing up the frame that I'm building, because I could always cut it out and start over. If I mess this up, not only do I have a vehicle that I can't drive, but I'm going to have to put a ton more money into it to fix the problem. So, and I don't have that kind of budget. So, I'm probably going to take way more time than I need to do this because I have no clue what I'm doing. Well, I'm going to assume that the first thing that needs to happen is this fuel input needs to come loose. Ain't that some crap? Some of this is metric and some of it's standard. And there's no way. Maybe there is. 15 millimeter and 17's too big. Where is it? No, it's not. It really helps to find the right piece that you want to undo. So let me guess. We need 16. Let's see, 5/8. Yeah, baby. You. Stay. You're not listening. Stay. Now, realistically, we did not have to take this off of these, but I've got to plug one of these for this other carburetor, and I'd like to be able to keep the pressure gauge, fuel pressure gauge. I bet this one would be easier to do. Yeah, it ain't coming off just yet. It'd be better to have a cameraman here. I just dropped something. Let's get under there. There we go. It'd be different if I've done this 3 or 4 times, or even once. But because I've never done this, we're going to take our time and figure out exactly what needs to be done and make sure that nothing... No, that ain't going to work, is it? Let's get another wrench. Make sure exactly how everything needs to go together according to how it came apart. And more importantly, don't drop nothing. The side that's going to fall off. Let's put this back on. Pull this vacuum hose off because we know where it goes. Take the 4 bolts off. We'll be able to pull this accelerator plate or whatever it's called off. I think everything is disconnected other than that. Got 4 bolts that hold this thing in place. Now we get this off. Slide it to the side. And there is the old carburetor. Got a new gasket. But I don't like the way that goes. I wonder if maybe I got it upside down or something. There it is. That fits better. And we got a new carburetor. Boom. This. You get back in there. There you I forgot to take pictures as to what went where. That went below that, it went there. But we're gonna watch a video back, and I'm gonna tell you why. According to the instruction manual, these holes, there would on some vehicles be an overdrive connection coming from the transmission, and what transmission you would have would determine which hole your overdrive connection would connect to, as I understood it from the instruction manual or installation manual. That being said, this one does not have one. What we have to worry about is connecting this, which we know goes in this big hole. This right here, which we believe to go in that hole, but we need to make sure. It's pretty though. Shinier than anything else under the hood. Go in this pattern. It helps to get your eyes on the nuts so you know what you're doing. Alright, well that ain't gonna work. That explains why that was so loose before now. Ha 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 ha, look at that. That was a stupid move. That should have went on last. Duh. Let's try that again. Fits there. As long as the throttle linkage goes all the way back when the pedal goes to the floor, then that should be good, I would think. Because we know that I'm an expert, right? Right. Alright, now we just got to deal with that choke and the fuel line. Alright, let's get this fuel line hooked up. I rerouted this fuel line to the back side of this bracket because it was coming from that way, and on the bottom side this belt was like real close to it, and I didn't like that. First we've got to get a vacuum line hooked up, and then we can get our fuel, and then all we got to take care of is the choke. Should have pulled the cap off this vacuum port before I installed the carburetor. There we go. Alright, vacuum port is connected. So we can mark that. Ow! So right here is so it turns out that I am really good at picking the wrong camera angle. That seems like it's very loose. Teeny. That's not quite tight enough. I had an 18 over here. How about that? My 18 was in the drawer where it's supposed to be. So we want to lock this choke open. And just in case you've never done this, just like I've never done this, we're going to show this. Loosen those three up. Rotate that till that is locked open then tighten these 3 back up. Roll this thing over a few times, fill the bowl up, see if we can get it running. More importantly, check for fuel leaks. And right off the bat, we've got a fuel leak. Carburetor does not come with this post, which is needed to hold your air cleaner on, but we've got the nuts. Now you could just grab that with a pair of pliers like somebody has obviously already done and mess up the threads a little further down, or you could take 2 wing nuts or 2 regular nuts or whatever you've got, tighten them up against each other, and then spin the bottom one to get that to start spinning. Look at me acting like a freaking mechanic, like I know what I'm doing, when obviously I don't. Ha! Want to hear something funny? This post is bigger than the one on the new carburetor. We need to rinse this thing off and take it out and drive it like we stole it. See what happens. There's a lot of carbon buildup in the exhaust pipes, which is slowly burning off, but it's still producing a very small amount of black smoke. Now, according to this book, that carburetor is capable of handling 7 psi max of fuel pressure, but that car is producing about 9 psi. So Joe gave us a pressure regulator, and as soon as my fittings get here, we'll get that installed. Between now and then, there's something gratifying about the idea of your GPS jumping 5 and 10 miles an hour between digits. We've only got one intersection in our town, and it's a 2-lane road that meets a 2-lane road with a turning lane. And whenever I pull up to that 3 lanes, I like to see if I can hit the speed limit before I get across the highway.